Welcome to a new episode, The Depth of Depression. As you may have guessed already, I'll be talking to you about a serious topic, depression. This topic is not taken seriously within today's society. 1 in 5 people every year experience depression, and the worst part about this is that I don't communicate this to close ones and friends. Today we'll be going in depth of what depression is and how it affects others. We will be also joined by an expert and a victim who will be sharing us his story of depression. So what is depression? We'll be now joined with one of the experts in this field who will be giving us an insight as to what it is and breaking down its meaning.
Depression is when an individual feels sad, down and miserable most of the time, or they just lose interest in everything and stop reaching out to their close ones. They may have these kinds of feelings for weeks, months or even years. Depression is more than just a feeling in a low mood. It's a serious condition that can affect their physical and mental health. Many different areas where you may suffer from these symptoms. With your behavior, you may not go out anymore, not get work done at school or work, withdraw from close friends and family, not doing usual enjoyable activities, and won't be able to concentrate. They may feel overwhelmed, guilty, and sometimes irritable, frustrated, lacking confidence, and disappointed. Their thoughts will be mainly against themselves. For example, I'm a failure, it's my fault, and nothing's good ever happens to me. It's important to know that we all experience these symptoms time to time, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're depressed.
Now we will be moving on to some of the stats of depression within Australia. 1 million people in Australia currently suffer from depression. In any year, 10,000 young Australians live with depression. The prevalence of depression in an Australian sample group increased in the 10 years to 2008 from 6.8 to 10.3. Moving on to a personal story of a person named Shreyas. He'll be giving us an insight as to how he suffered depression and how he conquered it. So Shreyas, can you give me an insight as to how you found out that you had depression and how it felt like?
Well, the thing is that I didn't until a few years had passed in my younger years when my family found out that I was suffering from depression. I was around 13 years old when I moved to a different school and was struggling to talk to people and making friends. When I did try, they mainly had rejected me about how I can't play sport or do any physical activities because I was bad at them. After like a few months of being lonely, I blamed it on myself. I started to feel disappointed and miserable, so I stopped talking to everyone, even my family. I started locking myself in my room for most of the time. It happened for around 1 year when my parents realized something was badly wrong with me, so they took me to a doctor and they found out that I had depression. So they decided to change my schools, and I still didn't talk until a bunch of people came up to me and asked me if I was alright. I answered yes, I'm fine, and they asked me I wanted to come play with them, so I was like, okay, but I'm not really good in sports. They responded saying it's alright, neither are we. This was the first time I had talked to someone who didn't discredit me. Something that I learned from this is one of the simplest changes can make a difference.
If you're a victim of depression, some ways to get help is talking about it to your close ones, speaking to an expert about it before it gets too late, or chatting to someone who has suffered something similar and try to solve it that way.